Chapter 21. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yen Han's eyes narrowed, his face a mask of intense seriousness. Did a single word just obliterate his magic power? Who is this? The air shimmered, and a young man appeared before them, descending like a god. The Xiantian sect disciples erupted in cheers and bowed low. Greetings, senior brother Qin Ting. Su Hao let out a relieved breath. With Qin Ting here, who can stand against the Yuanshi sect? The other Xiantian sect disciples buzzed with excitement, anticipating the Yuanshi sect's downfall. They were pampered and privileged, these Xiantian sect disciples. They'd never known hardship like this, and it all started with a sneak attack from the Yuanshi sect. Then, when they fought back, they were overwhelmed by superior magic. The Yuanshi sect even had the gall to try and force them to kneel and apologize, using the imposing aura of a powerful figure in the magical realm. They clearly wanted to humiliate Xiantian sect. They felt insulted by Yen Han's cruel intentions. Qin Ting. Yen Han's face darkened to a stormy gray, as if he were facing his worst enemy. He might be a true disciple of the Yuanshi sect, but he was nowhere near as famous as Qin Ting. And now, with Qin Ting's recent breakthrough into the magical realm, the whole world knew his name. But I'm not afraid of you. If I can go toe-to-toe with the Yuanshi Holy Sun, I can certainly take you on. Qin Ting starred at a strange glint flashed in Yen Han's eyes, and a surge of fighting spirit filled him. He'd sparred with the Yuanshi Holy Sun several times, holding his own, never completely crushed. This made him believe he could stand among the top younger generation in the East Wasteland. Qin Ting, who'd achieved the magical realm at 16, was destined to be the future Holy Son of Xiantian sect. If he could defeat Qin Ting, his popularity would skyrocket. He'd be famous throughout the East Wasteland. His reputation within the sect would also soar. With his grandfather's support, the position of Holy Son would surely be his. Yen Han's mind raced, instantly forming a plan. We're both prodigies, both possess powerful magic. Why should I be afraid? Qin Ting's eyes flashed with sarcasm. He saw right through Yen Han's bluster and ambition. What a joke. He's practically begging to die. The Yuanshi Holy Sun was a different story. He was a true genius, someone even Qin Ting took seriously as a formidable opponent, but Yen Han? He was nothing but a spoiled brat, relying on his family name. His future achievements were limited, and it would be lucky if he could build a shrine. Seeing the contempt in Qin Ting's eyes, Yen Han's face contorted. How dare you look down on me? I'm a powerhouse in the magical realm. You'll regret this. A flash of white sword light streaked toward Qin Ting's forehead, moving with impossible speed. But the sword light froze. Qin Ting casually caught the blade between two fingers. The sword, a formidable weapon, shattered with a crackle, its magical power dissipating into motes of white light. Yen Han, sword in hand, attacked with a storm of unpredictable blows. Qin Ting simply pointed a finger, just one finger. As he extended his finger, reality itself seemed to warp. A finger as massive as a mountain peak descended from the sky, crushing the earth, sending it plummeting 10 feet. The mountains trembled in the distance. This power was absolute. Yen Han roared in defiance, but it was futile. His clothes were torn, his face blank. He barely stood, swaying like a leaf about to be blown away. Yen Han, a true disciple of the Yuanshi sect, was defeated by Qin Ting with a single finger. Chapter 22. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Hao and the others were beyond excited, looking at Qin Ting with pure awe, like he was a god. The Yuanshi sect felt like they were at a funeral for their most promising heir. They couldn't believe Yen Han, their invincible champion, had been taken down with a single flick of Qin Ting's finger. The spectators were in shock. Yen Han was a big name among the younger generation in the eastern wilderness. He was so skilled that even powerful cultivators struggled to last more than a few moves against him. Rumor had it that he even fought some powerful demons from the demon clan and got away without a scratch. That's how tough this guy was. But no one imagined he'd be defeated so easily. One finger, that's insane. Yeah, Yuanchur sect got their butts kicked this time. Ha! Yuanchur sect's been riding high lately, even thinking they could become the top holy land in the eastern wilderness. Well, this should shut them up. That Yan Han thought he was hot stuff, but he ran into Qin Ting at the wrong time, that everyone was buzzing about it, and Song Tong and the others were dying of shame. They were outmatched, plain and simple. Who in the eastern wilderness can even stand up to Qin Ting? That's all anyone could think. Yan Han stared at Qin Ting, dumbfounded, muttering, How? How is this possible? I'm a powerful cultivator, a genius. How could this happen? Qin Ting gave Yan Han a cold look and snapped, You dare offend the Shantian sect? Kneel down and apologize, you little nobody. That the pressure around them suddenly intensified. Song Tong and the others buckled under it immediately, dropping to their knees. Only Yan Han struggled to stay upright, he looked crazed. Not long ago, he was the one forcing Shantian sect disciples to kneel. Now the tables were turned. He couldn't kneel. Yan Han was losing it. He was a true disciple of the Yuanchur sect, and he couldn't kneel. If he did, the entire Yuanchur sect would be a joke. He couldn't. He wouldn't. Yan Han pushed himself to the limit, trying to withstand Qin Ting's power, his body trembling. Huh, stubborn, Qin Ting said, a hint of admiration in his voice. But his face hardened, and he stated flatly, Too bad. Even royalty bows before me. The pressure doubled, focusing entirely on Yan Han. His bones creaked and groaned, tiny cracks spiderwebbing across their surfaces. His skin split, and he looked like a bloody mess. It was unbelievable. He was a powerful cultivator, a true disciple of the Yuanchur sect, trained in the best techniques, and yet he couldn't even stand straight in front of Qin Ting. I don't want to die. Yan Han gritted his teeth, drawing blood. I'm a cultivator, I have my whole life ahead of me. I don't want to die. Senior brother Yan. Don't kneel. You can't. Song Tong and the others sobbed, begging him. They were just ordinary disciples, and kneeling was different for them. It was practically forced, but Yan Han was a true disciple, carefully nurtured by the Yuanchur sect. He was the face of the sect. Kneeling would make the entire Yuanchur sect a laughingstock. Yan Han felt like his insides were being crushed, his blood vessels were bursting, and his core was collapsing. If he didn't give in, he might be destroyed. With a thud, Yan Han's knees hit the ground. Song Tong and the others watched him fall, deflated, stunned, like zombies. Yuanchur sect was totally humiliated. Everyone looked at Qin Ting with the reverence due a god, but Qin Ting just looked bored, like it was nothing. Seeing the Yuanchur sect disciples kneeling like criminals, Qin Ting shook his head, unimpressed, too weak. So weak that Qin Ting couldn't even muster any interest. Let's go. He turned and left. Defeating Yan Han or making the Yuanchur sect grovel didn't even register with him. Yes, Su Hao and the others finally snapped out of it. Their eyes were shining with fanaticism. They hurried to follow Qin Ting. Only the Yuanchur sect members remained, kneeling like statues. The onlookers started to disperse, buzzing with excitement. What they witnessed was unreal. They knew that the news from Kaoshan City would spread like wildfire. Qin Ting's name would become legendary throughout the eastern wilderness. Chapter 23. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ever since Qin Ting thoroughly defeated and humiliated everyone from the Yuanchur sect, Backing City had calmed down considerably. With a powerhouse like Qin Ting in town, everyone was on their best behavior. Meanwhile, Qin Ting was carefully checking his system from his room. Turns out, after Qin Ting crushed Yan Han with a single finger and forced the Yuanchur sect disciples to kneel, the system recognized Qin Ting's actions as villainous. Reward, 80,000 villain points. 80,000. Qin Ting thought for a moment, understanding what the system was getting at. The Yuanchur sect was a major cultivation center in the eastern wasteland. Even though Qin Ting only bullied a few disciples, he was effectively damaging the sect's reputation. Both he and Yan Han were top disciples, and both had reached the magical powers realm. Yet, a Yuanshi sect disciple was forced to kneel and apologize to a Xiantian sect disciple. No matter the specifics, the fact that he knelt couldn't be ignored. People would praise Qin Ting, but they'd also criticize the Yuanshi sect's training. They're both top disciples. How come Xiantian sect's disciple can overpower your Yuanshi sect's disciple? That this was a major blow to the Yuanshi sect, which had been gaining momentum, and it would make people even more wary of the Xiantian sect. Now that's a true, time-honored holy ground of cultivation, with hundreds of thousands of years of history. Yuanshi sect just couldn't measure up, the system chimed, hosts' accumulated villain points have exceeded 100,000. Reward, 1 free lottery draw. Draw now. After his last draw, Qin Ting was eager for another. He replied, draw now. That a spinning wheel appeared before him, the pointer whirling wildly. Finally, it stopped. Ding! Congratulations, host. You've won the magic item, paper substitute. Qin Ting's eyes narrowed. A paper substitute? He read the system's description. The paper substitute can block a fatal attack for its master. It can even absorb a full-force attack from someone in the divine transformation realm. Qin Ting was thrilled. This item was like having an extra life. Defensive magic items were incredibly rare and valuable, and their effects were usually limited. The best could only withstand a powerful attack from the palace realm, but this paper substitute could absorb a full-force strike from a divine transformation realm expert. Its value was clear. Qin Ting, as a top disciple of the Xiantian sect and the young master of the Qin clan, had no shortage of magic items, but most were offensive. This kind of defensive treasure was perfect for him. Before Qin Ting could examine the exchange options, Zhou Pingyue's voice came from outside the palace gate. Junior brother Qin, may I come in? Qin Ting glanced out the window and saw it was already late. He wondered what Zhou Pingyue wanted at this hour. He called out, Senior sister Zhou, come in. Zhou Pingyue entered, smiling at Qin Ting, and said softly, Junior brother, still up so late? Qin Ting smiled faintly and asked, Senior sister, what brings you here so late? Zhou Pingyue smiled. I wouldn't call it advice. I just wanted to discuss some cultivation questions. Qin Ting narrowed his eyes slightly and smiled. I'm delighted to hear it. That night, Qin Ting and Zhou Pingyue talked late into the night. Zhou Pingyue felt enlightened by Qin Ting's casual comments. Even when she critiqued a magical power, Qin Ting had to admit her observations were insightful. What's more, Qin Ting could propose improvements to any technique she presented. Zhou Pingyue mentally tested his suggestions and realized that after Qin Ting's modifications, the magical power would become even more refined, virtually flawless. Chapter 24. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Ting and Zhou Pingyue were so deep in their discussion about magical techniques that they hadn't noticed anything happening outside. Zhou Pingyue was a renowned genius in the eastern wasteland, his insight so profound that even Xiantian sect's elders praised him. Qin Ting, despite his own extraordinary talent, found himself inspired by Zhou Pingyue's insights. Qin Ting's magic was powerful and aggressive, while Zhou Pingyue's was swift and elusive, like a fleeting glimpse, more subtle and mysterious. After a long conversation, they felt a deep connection, both having gained invaluable insights. Just then, Niayu's voice came from outside the door, Master, I need to see you. Zhou Pingyue, realizing Qin Ting had other matters to attend to, smiled and took his leave. Niayu bowed respectfully as Zhou Pingyue exited. As a true disciple of the Xiantian sect with a promising future, and a good relationship with Niayu's son, he deserved such respect. Qin Ting watched Zhou Pingyue go and asked, hands clasped behind his back, What's up? Niayu replied respectfully, The disturbance at Lianyan Mountains has been interpreted by the elders after consulting the ancient texts. They believe that the Earth Emperor's Xian fire, ranked 11th on the list of rare flames, is about to surface. The Earth Emperor's Xian fire? Qin Ting raised an eyebrow. It was an exceptionally potent fire. Unleashed, it could trigger endless underground lava flows, reshaping the landscape. Not only could it be used offensively, but it was also invaluable for refining elixirs. So, Yi Qiu is probably after the Earth Emperor's Xian fire as well. Despite being only in the Divine Will realm, as the Chosen One, he couldn't be underestimated. His presence in the Lianyan Mountains, competing with other sects, meant he had something up his sleeve. Several major sects from other regions have also converged on Backing City, vying for this treasure. Niayu continued, major cultivation sects have arrived in Kaoshan City. Besides the Yuanche sect and Qianyuan sect, the Chaoxing sect, Xingyue sect, and the ancient shrine have arrived in the last few days. Niayu paused, then added gravely, the Qianyuan sect just headed to the Lianyan Mountains, and Yi Qiu is with them. Qin Ting nodded. Then let's go to the Lianyan Mountains as well. Chapter 25. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Lianyan Mountains are vast, sprawling across an area the size of a small country. Deep within these mountains lies an intensely hot valley, perpetually engulfed in flames. The heat is so extreme that even the most powerful experts of the Divine Will realm who venture there are quickly forced to retreat. The surrounding peaks have long been claimed by various sects, who have established outposts. Smaller sects and independent cultivators can only find temporary refuge on the peripheral peaks, hoping to scavenge whatever they can from the rare treasures that might surface. They know they can't compete for the main prize, but the birth of a major treasure often brings lesser, accompanying treasures with it. These smaller finds are often overlooked by the larger sects but are invaluable to them. They could even be the opportunity they need to elevate their own sect. One particular peak has been completely transformed into a residential compound. Monks flying overhead regard it with awe. This is the Qianyuan sect, one of the most revered cultivation centers in the eastern wasteland. The sect boasts a powerful virtual god expert, and its disciples are equally renowned throughout the region. In the center of the mountain, inside a wooden house, stands a woman. She gazes out the window, her slender figure accentuated by long hair cascading down her back, gently held in place by a ribbon. Dressed in vibrant green, she radiates a captivating aura. This is Mu Qingyi, a top disciple of the Qianyuan sect and the only daughter of the sect leader, Mu Leng. Behind her stands a young man. Dressed in white, with handsome features and a friendly air, it's Yi Qiu. Mu Qingyi frowned slightly. So, you're determined to fight Qin Ting, brother Yi? Yi Qiu looked resolute and nodded. Yes, how can I let such an insult go unavenged? Mu Qingyi was also conflicted. In her opinion, Yi Qiu's childhood sweetheart had volunteered to become Qin Ting's maid. He had no one to blame but himself. And while Qin Ting had indeed injured Yi Qiu, it wasn't exactly a life-or-death situation. If she intervened, Qin Ting would likely show her some respect, but seeing Yi Qiu's determined expression, she held her tongue. She had met Yi Qiu in a small country, and they had connected on a similar wavelength. She was particularly impressed by Yi Qiu's talent and unwavering resolve. Even though he had declined her invitation to join the Qianyuan sect, Mu Qingyi admired him greatly. Yi Qiu smiled lightly. Qingyi, don't worry. I wouldn't challenge him if I wasn't sure of myself. With a slight nod to Mu Qingyi, he left for his own residence. Just then, Elder Ling's voice echoed in Yi Qiu's mind. Get ready to move out. Yi Qiu was puzzled. Master, what's wrong? Elder Ling chuckled. You lucky kid. My spirit just detected a treasure about 300 miles south of here. Yi Qiu asked, what kind of treasure? A Xianyang dragon fruit. Elder Ling replied. A rare find indeed. With this, you'll be far more confident in acquiring the Earth Emperor's mysterious fire. The guardian of the fruit has been drawn away by the commotion in the Lianyan Mountains. He's gone. Let's move fast. Yi Qiu's face lit up with joy, and he vanished into the shadows. Unbeknownst to him, Mu Qingyi watched him disappear through the window, a thoughtful expression on her face. In the Lianyan Mountains, the central peak is naturally the territory of the Xiantian sect. The Yuanche sect would have once fought for it, but after Qin Ting's crushing victory over them, they were now lying low. They had deliberately chosen a more secluded peak for their temporary camp. Even this trip to the Lianyan Mountains was led by elders of the Yuanche sect. As the bitter cold made retreat impossible, by the time Qin Ting and his entourage arrived, Elder Lu had already set up the Xiantian sect's camp. Buildings rose from the ground, towers and palaces looming amidst the mountains, a majestic sight to behold. As Qin Ting and his party approached, everyone made way, eager to avoid offending such a powerful figure. Even disciples from other holy lands greeted Qin Ting respectfully from a distance. After arriving at the camp, Qin Ting ordered his disciples to keep a close watch on the valley and report any unusual activity immediately. Then, Qin Ting found a palace and began his seclusion. He knew a battle was coming, and he needed to be in peak condition. Late that night, in the palace where the Xiantian sect was stationed, inside the tall Guanyin tower where Qin Ting rested, suddenly, Qin Ting's eyes snapped open. He sensed an incredibly terrifying aura approaching, and there was a hint of dark energy within it, a powerful demon. The devil is here. Chapter 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Ting stood, hands clasped behind his back, looking serene as he faced the chaos from the high platform. Zhou Pingyue, Elder Lu, Niayu, and others, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, hurried to his side. Though panic flickered in their eyes, Qin Ting's composure was infectious, immediately calming their fears. With Qin Ting there, what was there to be afraid of? Suddenly, a wave of demonic energy swept across the Lianyan Mountains, shaking everyone to their core. What's going on? Oh, my God! The demonic energy is insane. That has to be a powerful demon. A sense of impending doom washed over the crowd. Demonic powerhouses were a cultivator's worst nightmare, unpredictable, ruthless, and terrifyingly strong, plus, their skills advanced at warp speed, making them forces to be reckoned with. Turmoil erupted as countless cultivators soared into the sky, searching for the source of the disturbance. Qin Ting watched the chaos unfold, his expression unchanging, his face a mask. Then, a slight lift of his eyebrows was the only indication that anything was amiss. A fiery red cloud of calamity appeared, rapidly closing the distance until it hung above them all. Within that cloud, a red-haired old man materialized. His face was contorted into a grotesque mask, his eyes gleamed with a fierce, almost ghostly light. A wave of bloody, malevolent energy radiated outwards, igniting the surrounding forests and transforming them into an inferno. The area became a living hell. Elder Lu trembled, whispering, "The Bloodfire Old Man. It's actually the Bloodfire Old Man." Qin Ting's expression hardened. The Bloodfire Old Man was a notorious demon, infamous for his brutal power. A major player in the Divine Palace realm of the Eastern Wasteland, he'd vanished without a trace centuries ago. Now, for some unknown reason, he was back, and he was furious. What is that? That kind of power. It's a major demon in the Divine Palace realm. That the cultivators of the Lianyan Mountains watched the Bloodfire Old Man, awestruck, like witnesses to divine retribution. That's the Bloodfire Old Man. The name rippled through the crowd, turning shock to despair. Despite his long absence, the Bloodfire Old Man's reputation still cast a long shadow over the Eastern Wasteland. A figure from the Divine Palace realm. Every powerful person from the Divine Palace is one of the most powerful people in the world. The power and fame of the Eastern Wasteland cannot be erased in hundreds of years. The Bloodfire Old Man glared down at them, his rage palpable. Centuries ago, while wandering the world, he'd stumbled upon a treasure hidden within the Lianyan Mountains, the Xianyang Dragon Fruit. That fruit was his ticket to the next level. Refining it would supercharge his strength, potentially pushing him into the virtual god power realm. So, he'd guarded it for centuries, waiting for it to ripen. For hundreds of years, he'd remained beside the Xianyang Dragon Fruit, and finally, it was almost mature. Lately, the strange events in the Lianyan Mountains hadn't escaped his notice. Yesterday, he'd slipped into the underground, thinking to explore. He was only gone for a day, and when he returned, his Xianyang Dragon Fruit was gone. Centuries of hope, gone in an instant. How could he not be livid? Who stole my Xianyang Dragon Fruit? Show yourself. The Bloodfire Old Man's roar echoed through the void, dripping with murderous intent. Come out, or I'll wipe every living thing off the face of this mountain. Now, a chill went down everyone's spine as they scrambled for safety. Run! Get out of here! Who did this? Step up! Are you trying to get us all killed? Driven by sheer survival instinct, they turned and fled. The Bloodfire Old Man, watching their frantic escape, unleashed a torrent of blood-red demonic energy that morphed into molten lava raining from the sky. The cultivators of the Lianyan Mountains took heavy losses instantly. This lava, forged by the Bloodfire Old Man's magic, was relentless, sticking and burning, and many monks were burned alive. The casual cultivators and smaller sects on the fringes were hit the hardest, their defenses inadequate, and half of them perished immediately. The larger sects scrambled to raise defensive formations, barely holding back the inferno. At the Qianyuan sect's camp, Mu Qingyi, her face grim, told Yi Qiu, "Brother Yi, stick close to me. We're the Qianyuan sect, a major force in the eastern wasteland. The Bloodfire Old Man won't wipe us all out." Yi Qiu looked sheepish, maybe a little regretful, but he nodded, saying, "Qingyi, don't worry." Then, a disciple shouted, "Look! It's senior brother Qin Ting from the Xiantian sect." All eyes turned to where Qin Ting was rising into the sky, facing the Bloodfire Old Man head-on. His robes flowed around him, his hands clasped behind his back, he flew directly towards the demonic powerhouse in the sky, the sea of fire parting before him as if in reverence. That image burned itself into their memories, an unforgettable moment, utterly magnificent. Chapter 27. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For a moment, even the people on the ground stopped running and looked up. It's Qin Ting from Xiantian sect. What's he doing? That's a major demon from the Divine Palace realm. Is he going to stop Bloodfire Old Man? Bloodfire Old Man was a notorious demon, one of the most powerful figures in the eastern wasteland. Now he's lost his mind, and Qin Ting's actually going to confront him head-on. Bloodfire Old Man spotted Qin Ting too. He was about to swat him like a fly when a sudden feeling of danger washed over him. A powerful demon like him had extremely sharp instincts. He sensed that attacking would put him in even greater peril. How could that be? The guy in front of him was only in the supernal power realm. Qin Ting stood tall, hands clasped behind his back, suspended in the air. Dressed in a purple robe, he radiated nobility. He said calmly, "Stop." Not only Bloodfire Old Man but also the monks below couldn't believe what they were hearing. Did he just tell Bloodfire Old Man to stop? He's challenging a great demon from the Divine Palace with his supernal power. This guy is a genius. Absolutely amazing. He's the best of the younger generation in the eastern wasteland. People on the ground gaped, completely stunned. Even Mu Qingyi was secretly impressed by his presence. Whatever Qin Ting from Xiantian sect was really like, his bearing alone was captivating. Bloodfire Old Man eyed him suspiciously and croaked, "Who are you?" Qin Ting gave a slight smile. "Xiantian sect, Qin Ting." Qin Ting. Bloodfire Old Man recognized the name. Even though he'd been holed up in the Lianyan Mountains, he'd heard of Qin Ting. The pride of Xiantian sect, an 18-year-old powerhouse with supernal power. Everyone said if he didn't mess up, he was destined to become a powerful false god. Besides, Xiantian sect was the holy land of the eastern wasteland, and its power was immense. Even a great demon like him didn't want to get on their bad side. Suddenly, he sensed a familiar aura coming from Qin Ting. He narrowed his eyes and abruptly asked, "Who are you to Qin Emperor?" Qin Ting smiled. "He's my father." Hearing that, a flicker of fear flashed in Bloodfire Old Man's eyes. He said gravely, "I won't touch anyone from Xiantian sect." Qin Ting smiled and shook his head. "Senior, haven't you taken out enough rage? Too many people have died. It's time to quit." Bloodfire Old Man flew into a rage. "I won't rest until I find the one who stole my dragon fruit." "You going to stop me?" Qin Ting chuckled softly. "What if I told you who stole your Xianyang dragon fruit?" Boom. As soon as he said that, the sky filled with a sea of fire, turning night into day. Bloodfire Old Man roared with fury and madness. "Who stole my Xianyang dragon fruit?" Qin Ting smiled and looked down at the Qianyuan sect's camp. Bloodfire Old Man followed his gaze. Yi Qiu was also looking at Qin Ting. Their eyes met, locking onto each other. Yi Qiu felt intense dread and disgust. Ever since Qin Ting had arrived in this world, his real enemy was this young man, even though he hadn't even reached the divine will realm. Song Chang'e was nothing but an ant. Jiang Zhongbai was a minor irritation. Although he had some tricks, he had no backing. Only Yi Qiu was a real threat. The moment Qin Ting saw Yi Qiu, a shiver went down his spine. He felt like a natural enemy. On the other side, Yi Qiu's pupils shrank when he saw Qin Ting. How could Qin Ting not be his natural enemy? Every time he heard the name Qin Ting, he'd felt a primal fear and hatred that made him lose his composure. Now, looking at Qin Ting, he understood, in this life, only one of them would survive. Chapter 28. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Ting's face broke into a sudden smile. Yi Qiu's heart leaped. Seeing that smile, a sense of impending doom washed over him. Qin Ting pointed a finger at Yi Qiu, and declared, "It was you, Yi Qiu." A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, and every head turned to stare at Yi Qiu. Following the direction of Qin Ting's accusation, cold sweat trickled down Yi Qiu's back, a sense of dread settling in his gut, but he plastered on a calm facade, trying to bluff his way out. "Qin Ting," he said firmly, "this is a personal vendetta. There's a whole crowd of us here. What makes you think it was me?" His words sowed a seed of doubt in some minds. It wasn't that they inherently trusted Qin Ting, but Yi Qiu just looked too ordinary. Sure, he was in the divine will realm, impressive enough for his age, on par with the inner disciples of some well-known sections. But the divine will realm was still weak. The Bloodfire Old Man was a major player in the Divine Palace realm. Could a mere kid from the Divine Will realm really have snatched the Xianyang dragon fruit right under his nose? Qin Ting sneered inwardly. Even though he hadn't seen it himself, he knew in his bones that Yi Qiu was the one who stole the Xianyang dragon fruit. Only a child of destiny would pull off something so outrageous. Weren't they famous for bending the rules? Qin Ting smiled and proposed, "Okay, how about this? Just hand your storage bag over to Old Man Bloodfire for a quick look. If I'm wrong, I'll personally apologize. How's that sound?" As soon as he spoke, the crowd exploded. "Yeah, just show us. Clear your name if Qin Ting is wrong. Even if he's mistaken, a personal apology from the esteemed Qin Ting. What more could you want?" "Exactly. What's the big deal?" Listening to the rising tide of voices, Yi Qiu's face paled. Could he hand it over? Absolutely not. The Xianyang dragon fruit was sitting right there in his storage bag. Seeing Yi Qiu's hesitation, suspicion blossomed in the crowd. "Is it really him? Did you steal the Xianyang dragon fruit? If you did, I'll kill you myself. You monster. How many innocent people died because of you?" Yi Qiu's heart sank further with each passing second. He knew he was in deep trouble. Just then, a Qianyuan sect disciple behind Yi Qiu piped up. It was him. "I saw him sneak out last night and slip back in early this morning." A roar erupted from the crowd. The air crackled with anger. "So it was you. You scumbag. Our fellow disciples and brothers are dead because of you, Yi Qiu. I'll get you for this. I swear it. Feng'er, my son, you died a horrible death, but don't worry, I'll avenge you." A powerful old man howled, tears streaming down his face. He was a well-known independent cultivator, a strong figure in the Shantai realm. He had brought his only grandson here to train, never expecting a disaster like this. Now he had failed to protect him, and the boy had died a senseless death. The old man glared at Yi Qiu with pure hatred, wishing he could tear him apart. Even though the Bloodfire Old Man had been the one to slaughter those people, they didn't dare to harbor resentment towards him. Instead, they turned all their anger towards Yi Qiu, the perceived instigator. If he hadn't stolen the Xianyang dragon fruit, the Bloodfire Old Man wouldn't have shown up here, killing and looting like a madman. Fury surged through Yi Qiu, and he whipped around to glare at the disciple. The disciple, seeing the look on Yi Qiu's face, cowered and backed away, yelling as he retreated, "If you're innocent, why don't you just show us your storage bag? If you're innocent, what were you doing last night?" Mtlnovel also stared at Yi Qiu in disbelief. She had suspected something, but seeing her doubts confirmed still shocked her. Yi Qiu gritted his teeth, shooting a resentful glare at Qin Ting. Then, in a sudden burst of movement, his body dissolved. He transformed into a streak of rainbow light, darting away like a shooting star with incredible speed. Even though he was only at the divine will level, his speed exceeded that of most powerful figures in the magical power realm. Yi Qiu's decisive escape caught even Qin Ting and the Bloodfire Old Man off guard for a moment. The Bloodfire Old Man roared in anger and took off after Yi Qiu. Mtlnovel hesitated for a moment, then gritted her teeth and moved to intercept the Bloodfire Old Man. Even though she was only in the divine will realm, she was the beloved daughter of Muleng, the leader of the Qianyuan sect. She had plenty of tricks up her sleeve. One of them was a talisman infused with her father's cultivation base, a powerful strike from Muleng, a virtual god. He created this in case of his daughter's safety. While Mtlnovel couldn't fully unleash its power, it was enough to stall the Bloodfire Old Man for a while. As for her own safety, she wasn't too worried. After all, she was the daughter of the Qianyuan sect leader, a person of status. The Bloodfire Old Man wouldn't kill her unless he was completely insane. But she knew she would be heavily criticized when she returned to the sect for provoking a powerful foe like the Bloodfire Old Man. Her father, the leader, would be unable to defend her. Chapter 29. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Mtlnovel was about to use her magic talisman, she was suddenly locked in place. A terrible feeling washed over her. If she activated the talisman, she'd be struck by lightning and badly hurt. She looked up with difficulty and saw Qin Ting's handsome, smiling face. Junior sister Mu, Qin Ting said with a smile, don't do anything rash. Senior brother Qin, you're joking, Mtlnovel forced out. The delay meant the Bloodfire Old Man had already zoomed past. She'd missed her chance to stop him. Her face fell, and she put the talisman back in her bag. Brother Yi, you're on your own this time. An odd emotion stirred within her. When the Bloodfire Old Man demanded to know who stole the Xianyang dragon fruit, Yi Qiu didn't step up and admit it. This led to the whole mess and the tragic deaths of so many innocent people. She understood the instinct for self-preservation, but still felt disappointed. In her mind, Yi Qiu was always someone who stood tall and did the right thing. But not this time, especially when Qin Ting stepped up to stop the old man. His poise was a stark contrast to Yi Qiu's cowardice. Mtlnovel sighed quietly. Yi Qiu, looking like a man possessed, frantically tried to muster his strength. He seethed with hatred for Qin Ting, who had forced him into this life-or-death situation. Even if he somehow escaped today, he'd be condemned and disgraced forever. He roared, Qin Ting, I'll have my revenge. That the crowd erupted in curses. Shameless. You committed the crime, and you're blaming Mr. Qin Ting. You scum, how dare you say that? I'll avenge my junior sister. Yi Qiu, the Bloodfire Old Man, enraged, waved his hand, sending a thin, incredibly fast stream of lava hurtling toward Yi Qiu. In a flash, the lava was upon him. The crowd held its breath, certain Yi Qiu would be impaled in the next instant. But Yi Qiu twisted his body in a bizarre way, dodging the blast. Knowing his life hung by a thread, Yi Qiu looked like a madman. Blood evil forbidden technique. A torrent of blood erupted from Yi Qiu's body. He looked like he was covered in blood from head to toe. His face was gaunt, like a dying candle, but his speed had increased dramatically, streaking through the air like a bloody light, creating a sonic boom. He vanished. Yi Qiu's figure disappeared over the horizon. The Bloodfire Old Man flew into a rage. He was a great demon of the shrine, even if speed wasn't his specialty. How could an ant in the divine will realm dare to escape him? He roared, his power exploding, and unleashed a palm strike. A gigantic hand materialized in the sky, reaching miles to strike Yi Qiu. He'd changed his mind. He'd been holding back, afraid of destroying the Xianyang dragon fruit on Yi Qiu, but now that Yi Qiu was nearly gone, he wanted to obliterate him completely. The dignity of a divine palace realm master couldn't be challenged. The massive hand slammed into Yi Qiu. He was crushed, his flesh torn apart, transforming into a cloud of blood. Yet, his speed never faltered, and he vanished into the sky. The blood-fire old man was filled with fury and disbelief. An ant in the divine will realm had actually escaped. He roared wildly, chasing after Yi Qiu, his cries echoing across the land. Everyone was stunned. Yi Qiu had actually escaped. The shrine master had failed. A voice filled with grief and fury came from afar. Yi Qiu must be gravely wounded. I'll tear him to pieces. To avenge my grandson, that the crowd snapped out of their stupor. Yes, find Yi Qiu. Kill him. They shouted. Avenge our fellow disciples. Those who lost loved ones joined the hunt, and some quick-thinking individuals saw an opportunity. How could Yi Qiu, with mere divine will realm strength, escape the pursuit of a shrine master without a hidden treasure? Several people exchanged glances and slipped away. Even some Holy Land disciples disappeared. Niayu bowed to Qin Ting, looking grim. Master, he got away. Qin Ting smiled slightly, unconcerned. Yi Qiu was the chosen one. He wouldn't die so easily, this was just a test. No big deal if it didn't work out. Besides, a system notification popped up in his mind. Severely injured Yi Qiu, rewarded 15,000 villain points. Successfully plundered Yi Qiu's luck value, 20 points. Qin Ting was overjoyed. Luck value. This was what he wanted the most. Chapter 30. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luck points. This is what Qin Ting really craves. More valuable than those villain characters. What makes Yi Qiu so damn hard to deal with? It's because he's the golden boy, blessed with insane luck that lets him turn any disaster into a lucky break. Like today, anyone else would have died 1,000,000 times over, but Yi Qiu somehow keeps cheating death. That's the power of being lucky. Qin Ting thought, system, how does luck value work? The system answered, Yi Qiu started with 100 points of luck. You just stole 20. A jolt of understanding, like an electric shock, shot through Qin Ting. An indescribable feeling. His mind felt crystal clear, like the world was his for the taking. Those around him sensed a change in Qin Ting, though they couldn't pinpoint it. It was as if he was suddenly in perfect harmony with the universe, as if he was the universe. Heaven and earth, one and the same. Niayu stepped up, asking, Master, should we send the Iron Guard to hunt down Yi Qiu? After the previous incident, he was extra cautious when it came to Yi Qiu. This guy was too dangerous to be left alive, and Niayu was ready to make sure he was gone. Anyone who threatened the young master had to be eliminated. Qin Ting shook his head. Even though he'd swiped 20 luck points, Yi Qiu still had 80 left. Still too much. Sending a bunch of guys after him now would be a waste of time, probably get them killed. Besides, Qin Ting was betting Yi Qiu wasn't giving up on that Earth Emperor mysterious fire. Those lucky bastards never quit. And Yi Qiu was nothing if not persistent. He had a feeling he and Yi Qiu would cross paths again soon. A few days later, in a hidden cave in the Lianyan Mountains, Yi Qiu was holed up, looking nothing like his former self. Weak and dressed in rags, he'd barely managed to escape the blood-fire old man, using the blood fiend forbidden technique multiple times. A few times, Elder Ling had to take over his body to get him out of trouble. The blood-fire old man finally gave up. He trashed the mountains and forests, screamed all night, and then finally went back deep into the Lianyan Mountains, but the real problem was the cultivators hunting him. Each time he used the blood fiend forbidden technique, Yi Qiu lost some of his life force. Now he was seriously drained. He used to laugh off those Yuan Dan and Divine Will cultivators, now he was running scared. If it was just random guys from small sects, fine. But these weren't just small sect casual cultivators, these guys chasing him were Holy Land disciples. They were definitely after whatever secret Yi Qiu was hiding. These Holy Land disciples were strong, the best of their generation. Yi Qiu barely escaped with his life. He'd lost count of how many people he'd killed, how many bloody fights he'd been in. He found a hidden cave to regroup. Elder Ling's weak voice said, "Yi Qiu, hurry up and refine the Xianyang dragon fruit to heal yourself. It's a shame. I wanted to save it for when we were taming the Earth Emperor mysterious fire, but what choice do we have?" Yi Qiu replied, "Yes, master." Then, worriedly, "Master, how are you doing?" Ling Lao said weakly, "I've used up too much soul power, I'm going to fall into a deep sleep." "You're on your own for a while, Yi Qiu." Tears welled in Yi Qiu's eyes. "Master, I'm sorry for dragging you into this." Mr. Ling chuckled. "Don't be ridiculous. We're in this together. Hey, this is nothing compared to some of the messes we've been in. Remember all those other times we almost died? We got through them, didn't we?" Hearing that, Yi Qiu straightened up. He was right. The situation was bad, but hadn't Yi Qiu always escaped from danger? Seeing Yi Qiu find his courage, Ling Lao relaxed, told Yi Qiu a few more things, and then drifted off to sleep. Yi Qiu waited for Elder Ling to fall asleep, then sat down and pulled out the Xianyang dragon fruit to start refining it. He stared at the fruit with resentment in his eyes. "Qin Ting. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be in this mess. If it wasn't for you, Master wouldn't have drained his soul power. I swear to God, Yi Qiu, I will kill you." Yi Qiu was about to refine the Xianyang dragon fruit when a powerful aura suddenly filled the cave. Something was outside. This aura, oh no. It's a god-level powerhouse. Yi Qiu was shocked.